Good morning, friends and partners. My name is Antonio Querido. I am the FAO representative here in Uganda. Allow me to first to do the protocols, recognizing all the representatives from the Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Industries, but all the representatives of agencies and departments here with us. My friend Dimitri, head of the UNCDF here in Uganda, the CEO of ABI, and the curator of Makutano, and all friends and partners. Thank you for this opportunity. On behalf of FAO, the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, I would like to express our sincere appreciation to the Makutano company for this important event, and all stakeholders here this morning that are joining us to dissect a little bit the agro-industrialization agenda here in Uganda. Agro-industrial, and then I should say that as a FAO, our dream is and vision is a world free of hunger and also free of poverty. And we strongly believe that agro-industrialization can play a substantive role in this process. As you know, agro-industrialization is the growth and development of industrial sector for wealth creation, inclusive growth through an increasing economic integration and productivity in agri-food systems. It requires definitely the growth of agro-processing and agribusiness, but also it requires the development and growth of institutions that are relevant for the organization, but also can foster technological innovation, both on farm and at the company level. Agro-industrialization definitely can promote an inclusive development by providing sustainable jobs and livelihoods for the most vulnerable ones. Dimitri has spoken on the opportunity for the youth, but also for the women, the low resource small farmers. But to all the actors within the agri-food system in Uganda, there is an opportunity within agro-industrialization. However, despite this importance of agro-industrialization, we have seen that in our continent, and the numbers that was shared this morning clearly illustrate that there has been a minimal and to a large extent a non-inclusive progress when it comes to agro-industrialization. Unfortunately, our continent is still a food net importer, despite what we have recognized here in terms of the potential that we do have when it comes to arable land, when it comes to water, but also when it comes to the market that we represent. We're still not trading among ourselves to the levels that we have seen in other regions. So, but there is a good trend that we're seeing increasingly. There is a shift in terms of an overall sentiment of the potential of manufacturing in our continent. This is quite good, recognizing a huge potential that our continent has when it comes to agro-industrialization. But our agriculture is not performing well. This is not only here in Uganda, but throughout. We have seen that manufacturing remains the lowest in terms of value added, but also the lowest in terms of employment and service. And we have seen that the trend is mainly serving the domestic consumers. For Uganda, definitely needs to transform its agri-food system in order to sustain the economic growth. This is only possible with the right policies and enabling environment that can provide spaces for agro-industrialization to continue to grow. From the point of view of sustainable economic growth, and also in terms of food security, poverty reduction, we strongly believe that agro-industry is of paramount. We have seen a number of studies that shows and demonstrates that indeed it can have a strong impact when it comes to poverty alleviation, but also to economic growth. I think, let me just pause a bit and to take you to the Agenda 2030 that sets as a goal to end hunger by the end of this decade, but also to achieve food security and improve nutrition and promote sustainable agriculture, as well as promoting inclusive but also sustainable industrialization and foster innovation. These are basically on the two goals, SDG 2, but also SDG 9. For Uganda, in terms of its long-term to industrialize and transform the structure of its economy by 2040, we strongly believe that this transformation is possible, and agriculture sector offers an opportunity to promote a sustainable and inclusive agro-industrialization. So the goal of agro-industrialization program to increase commercialization and competitiveness of agriculture production and agro-processing is a good one. And we have seen particularly the NDP3 through its programs clearly laid out a number of important actions that we need to take to realize this potential. But even NDP3 also recognize that agriculture sector is characterized by low agriculture production and productivity. This needs to be improved. We also have issues related to poor storage and infrastructures, issues related to poor market access and low competitiveness for products in domestic and also at the regional level, and also a number of other challenges that we see within the agriculture sector that needs to be addressed. However, we do have opportunities when we look at Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement, which aims at creating a single market for goods and service within our continent, and also facilitates the movement of people throughout. This definitely creates an opportunity for Uganda to exploit agro-industrialization agenda in order to feed the country, but also look at the opportunities in terms of global value chain within our continent. But in order for Uganda to achieve this goal, it must address certain challenges. I would like to name a few without going into much detail given the time. First is the access to infrastructure. Access to infrastructure such as roads, railways, energy, particularly electricity, but access to water, that is a fundamental and a limiting factor in agriculture production, addressing the communication issues, but also to see how these are provided at the lowest cost. It is important for the global competitiveness. Another important challenges, part of the important challenge is access to finance. I normally joke among our friends that saying that our farmers, they need most and first and foremost the financing more than the technical know-how. We've been for quite some time knowing what to do, but the limiting factor is access to finance. We know that our banks are averse when it comes to agriculture risks. This is a sector that indeed is a risky sector. And too often, the amount of resources coming to the sector is not sufficient to promote the desirable impact of agro-industrialization of agro-industries. So access to finance is critical. But next is access to market. I would also link this to the managerial skills. Lack of access to markets, both international and at the regional level, really creates an impediment to the development of agro-industry here in Uganda, but we have also seen this trend throughout the continent. We need to invest more also when it comes to entrepreneurial and managerial skills. We have to admit, friends, that when it comes to this particular dimension, we still have a number of deficits. How to look at agriculture as a business, but how we have in place a set of skills that allow our companies to do well, not only here in local market, but also at the regional level. Briefly, I think the role of research is important for Uganda, but also for our continent. It is important that we understand our challenges and bring innovations to help address these issues related to the competitiveness of agro-industries, creating the capacities that is needed for the economic transformation, but also to create jobs for sustainable development. With all this, we should not neglect some environmental challenges. As you know, agriculture sector is one of the main contributors to climate change when it comes to the emission of greenhouse gases. So as we promote agro-industrialization, we should be mindful of the environmental effects that it can have if it left unchecked. So reasonable environmental policies, regulations, strengthen the institutional capacity to continue to monitor the systems of the agri-food systems is also of paramount importance. In September last year, the UN Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, called for a food system summit. I don't know if you recall this, but this summit was, to launch a new actions to transform the way the world is producing, but the way we're consuming, and also the way we're disposing of food, because we believe that this is important for the achievement of the sustainable development goals. But as you know, our food system and throughout, including here in Uganda, is a fragile one. And we realize that there is some challenge. And when the food system fails, we know that there is an impact, not only in the education, but health, in the economies, even on peace and security. So as FAO, we have put a strategic framework that will go from 2021 to 2031 that seeks to support countries in realizing this Agenda 2030. Our aim is to transform or to help on the transformation of a sustainable agri-food system, an agri-food system that is efficient, an agri-food system that is inclusive, that is resilient, but that promotes the sustainable development. Because what we truly want is to have a better production, is to have a better nutrition, a better environment, but working for a better life and leaving no one behind. We believe that this is also the shared goal of the agro-industrialization agenda of Uganda, and it is under the leadership of the Ministry of Agriculture, under the leadership of Ministry of Industries and other partners here, particularly the private sector, we believe that this is possible. But we must get the fundamentals right and address the challenge that I spoke. So with these words, friends and partners, I would like to wish all of you, a successful deliberation. And we believe that this space creates an opportunity for us to see how collectively, looking at all partners, all actors within the agri-food system, and what can we do to ensure that we support Uganda in the transformation in its agri-food system. Thank you for your attention.